physics staff, but I didn't know that at the time. Okay, for those of you tuning in here, this is the breakdown of who's at what level, and what their stats are, and how many arenas they've cleared. So at this point, everybody has promoted, with the exception of Do, Levin, and Tiltu. So I saw Alex's shield ring here. Initially, I had Fury pick up the shield ring because I overestimated how much money she would nab with the thief sword on this chapter. Taking chapter 3's thief sword earnings as kind of precedent. But there were just way more pirates that she had access to, because in this chapter she's tethered pretty harshly to Claude, which means that her earnings are a little limited. So then, when I was doing the non-dry run, the live run, I'd originally considered leaving the shield ring on Alec just a little longer, but that turned out to have a very slight effect on some of the AI movement, and so I had to come back and sell the shield ring. It actually turns out to be useful for some other money management, so it's not a loss, even though Alec would have appreciated it at one point late in the chapter, which is why I thought, hey, you know, it's not the dry run, I can do things slightly differently, which turned out to be foolish, but at any rate, there's not a whole lot to talk about here. Typical exit the castle and lineup. You'll notice that I prioritized Tiltu, Levin, Do in their movement because I want to get them moving as fast as possible, as far as possible. Do for the obvious reasons of he has to collect money from pirates and also unlock the bridge. Tiltu because she needs experience badly, and Levin because he needs to stick by her side at all times. Claude also got in the dance because he was going to catch up to Fury this turn. Next turn dance, he's also in it, but it's actually not optimal in hindsight. Also, you'll notice that I didn't have Sylvia move as far as she could have last turn, because otherwise Fury would have ended adjacent to her, which is kind of a no-no, because that increases love points of Levin with both of those two ladies. And, well, I don't think it's going to be a problem, and it turns out that it won't be a problem for Sylvia. I was just playing things a little careful there. So Tiltu gets in this conversation just for the hit points. She's going to spurn Ozzel's advances completely. But hey, hit points is hit points. And of course, typical for this chapter, the first several turns are going to be fairly boring because of non-existent enemy density. But you'll notice that I'm keeping all of my prospective pairings close to each other. And I believe that I'm doing my best to minimize any jealousy interactions wherever they might be popping up, by making sure to only place females by males and males by females instead of females by females and males by males. There are a couple of times where, it doesn't quite work that way, but I think for the most part, the losses to jealousy will be few and far between. So Oswald is going to get in on this dance, because due to the fact that Oswald didn't get ideal conditions in this chapter's arena, I wanted to try to favor him as a way to make up for that, because he's at maybe 20 or 21 right now. The median is something like 24. So I figured he would need a little special treatment. So I do my best to make sure that he gets a fair share of combat. And it turns out to work really well for him. So I think that was the right choice. So Lachesis is there for mainly for charisma for Dew, who will be standing in her range shortly. And it's not so much the accuracy that I want the charisma for, but Dew is a fairly reasonable priority target on enemy phase in helping out his dodging, which is already pretty great due to his speed and luck. But the extra plus 10 never hurts anybody. Now, as obvious, Dew is going to be utilizing the Wind Sword quite a bit here. For the 1-2 range capabilities. Building up kills on it is just a side effect, because taking a look at things, there's no way any of my weapons are going to get close to 50 kills, so that's no longer really a priority for Generation 1. Because in ranked play, you need to spread the experience around so much that, the kills aren't concentrated on any one character, which means that, as a result, you're not going to get super-powered weapons. But here, so, I may not have mentioned it, but Dew's carrying around the Elite Ring for this first leg of the map, and that means that not only is he performing a vital use, stealing money from those mages when they target him, but he's also performing another vital use of getting inflated experience, which will turn out to be great. Also, as I mentioned before, I'm doing my best to feed kills to Tiltu. This pays off great dividends. After favoring her in this first arc, she'll be able to promote after a dip in the arena, and that helps a lot. So this is yet again Dew grabbing some cash for the team. He's going to be in a dance square with Ozzel. This time 11 until 2 will not be in range, so I'll swap in a couple of other competitors. Beowulf is also the one experienced compared to the team, because he was only just able to afford Elite for this arena due to his late join and the fact that I didn't give him any villages in Chapter 2. Or Chapter 3, I guess, now that I think about it. Probably should have had somebody else grab that kill, thinking about it. As I mentioned before, Lachesis isn't going to have any trouble whatsoever hitting the 30 mark. So that's actually slightly dangerous for Sylvia, because she did get hit by the first mage. Her dodge turns out to be sufficient to sustain her through the next enemy phase. Although she isn't put into prayer range, so it's by no means secure. healing Tiltu was more of a priority. Although instead of getting that kill with Chesses, probably should have healed just the both of them, now that I think about it. One thing that's kind of funny is that even with Weapon Triangle Advantage, Hellfire offers, I think, the same amount of avoid as Wind would due to its increase in weight. Which is just kind of ludicrous. So the only reason he's really keeping it up is because the increase in accuracy helps. Because, again, Wind Mage have good avoid due to their low weight of their weapons. As soon as all the mages disappear, though, he'll be pretty much maining Wind. So I'm clustering Tiltu off a fair amount, so she'll only be hit by one enemy. Keep her relatively protected. Alright, so this chapter has a couple of really nice, or this turn has a couple of really nice things going for it. Aideen and Mitter finally become a couple, and so that means that she can give him the hero bow, which is a very useful present, and just in time for these Pegasus Knights that are upcoming. And since these Pegasus Knights are upcoming, I now shift my dancing priority to all of the bow users, so that I can get them close enough to the action that they'll be able to contribute. Catching up the army, as it were. This is basically Claude and Fury being useless, which they do for the majority of this chapter. But they managed to fill some self-gratification, which means that not all is lost. So I'm slightly disappointed that Dew couldn't reach Kavuli to steal his money, but Dew gets some kills, and with the Elite Ring on, that's, perhaps more important. He manages to get a pretty obscene amount of money anyway, so it's nothing to worry about. Now, Ozzel is just in range of those Pegasus Knights, but he won't kill them on the enemy phase, so he won't be completely swamped by them. And his dodge is reasonable enough, and they won't do enough damage for the two of them that can reach to kill him, if I remember correctly. Which I may not be doing entirely correctly, but at any rate, they don't connect and they don't kill him, so that's what really counts. Looking back, I probably should have had Jamka take that kill, because Mitter has his horse, and he will probably be fine. Jamka does not have a horse, so probably won't need it. Decide to heal Sylvia here so that I don't have to worry about her in the future. And then just move along with everything else. You may ask why I'm trucking Ardenal on, and that's perhaps a good question. He does have a use later in the chapter. He gets in a few hits against Pamela. It may have been worth keeping him at home castle so he could grab some of the civilians, but I thought Sylvia would make the best use of all of the civilians. So I gave Sylvia all of the civilians.